All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the recap. Michael D'Angelo, joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Big D, Daryl Ortiz, and it was Big D's birthday yesterday, so we gotta say happy birthday, Big D.
Thank
Finally,
you.
21 years old, ready
There
for
you
that
go.
first beer, man.
That's what I'm gonna keep telling people. Don't mind the gray in my beard. We're okay.
A little just for men, never hurt anybody. It's all good, but happy birthday.
Thank
And your
you.
birthday gift was some pretty mediocre wrestling heading into tonight's
Yeah,
show.
that was lovely, but it has to be because why? It's the week before a PLE, so naturally they can't really have too much going on. And I think that was the case. I think we are just talking about it. There was only like 4 matches on Raw, like
On
actual
Raw,
matches.
yeah.
So I would
Four. Well,
just
you got 3 matches and one stop
yeah,
due to an
unfortunate,
injury.
of course, obviously,
Unfortunately,
like very
yeah.
unfortunate. But we'll get into that here. We started off actually speaking of with Liv Morgan and Io Sky. Liv Morgan wanting the title with Io Sky, looking like they're trying to start a program between them to try and go for that title because it seemed like. I mean, I'm guessing the way they were trying to pin it or pivot with it, it looked like maybe they were trying to put the Queen of the Ring on Liv for a little bit there. Maybe they were thinking about it, but that all went away later on in the evening. We'll talk about that there. Of
Yeah.
course, she talked talking trash about Nikki Bella and bragging about her accomplishments and stuff like that. Sky called out once a rematch for the women's championship, and then she just kind of like fumbled them out of the ring, and then she stood tall in the middle of the ring with her title. So that was pretty much the starting off of it. It just kind of, I know we had Corey Graves on commentary, so it was a little different of a vibe.
Yeah,
I think
I love that. Love me some
I
Corey
know I
Graves.
like
I
Corey
gotta tell you.
Graves, I really do, but it's kind of like there's always that adjustment period when Pat McAfee leaves because you like the energy kind of. And not in a bad way. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but like the energy kind of like goes down a little bit because Pat McAfee's always at like 100 or 1,000, and then so you have Corey Graves who's a little more composed, who's more like wrestling like that we are used to, right?
Yeah.
And then when Pat McAfee comes back, we have to readjust to him going at 1,000 again.
Well,
So
so yeah, well, and that's why I've never been a huge fan of Pat McAfee because Pat McAfee's like if you have like your 12-year-old brother on commentary, and so everything is like, dude, that was crazy, and he's just in
yeah,
reacting to everything. Corey Graves actually gives you like wrestling acumen where he can talk
hmm
about the moves, he can help with the play-by-play, he talks more about the backstories of everybody because he's worked with all of them for so long.
yeah,
I really enjoy Corey Graves.
I like Corey Graves.
I thought it was a bum rap that I mean he's on NXT now, but it's essentially a demotion from where he was at before.
Yeah, he
And
can't play second fiddle now to Pat.
yeah, so and I get it because Pat McAfee has a big following
Bigger
and
draw.
blah blah blah,
Yeah,
bigger draw. But
it's numbers is all it is.
I was real happy with the commentary this week. It's
Yeah,
always cool to see Corey Graves kept doing the
yeah.
main roster stuff.
I'm a Corey Graves fan. I became a Corey Graves fan when I saw the one of the documentaries where he was actually in NXT trying to wrestle and he ended up getting hurt and couldn't wrestle anymore. But they loved his charisma and the way he worked that Vince actually gave him a shot on commentary.
Yeah.
And it kind of like that's why he takes it so to heart because it was kind of like his second chance to be in WWE and he's ran with it. I think he's done a phenomenal job. So
Agreed.
yeah, I mean it's nice to hear Corey Graves back on Raw with Michael Cole because Corey Graves, I love him just talking down to everybody. It's so good, it's so fun. Yeah, it was good. So that was also an adjustment, but we're there. We're good. We did have our first Fatal Four, or not first. I'm sorry. We had our next Fatal Four Way for Queen of the Ring tournament with Ivy Nile, Stephanie Vaquer, Raquel Rodriguez, and Asuka returning, of course. Fun fact: Asuka's mask that she wore, and it looks like she's going to keep wearing, was made by the same gentleman who made Bray Wyatt's Fiend mask. So
There you go.
that was super cool to see.
Very
I enjoyed that. Nice little tidbit of knowledge there. Asuka, obviously, on her return, was victorious. She actually pinned Ivy Nile, I believe is who she got the pinfall on. She with her new finisher. It's like a hip attack
Yeah,
finisher. They
it's
called
the
it
puff puff, the Empress Impact, and I'm
yes,
like,
the
that's a
Empress
puff
Impact.
puff.
Yes, they gave it a new name, and again, it was Asuka looked great in the ring. She was very fluid. It looks like she hadn't skipped a step. It looks like she's ring ready, no ring rust. It looked good. So congratulations to Asuka. Moving on, I was rooting for Stephanie Vaquer, but obviously with the returning Asuka, naturally that's who's going to win and move
Yeah, and
forward. So.
I didn't like the fact that Rhea Ripley came down and cost Raquel because
Mhm.
Raquel was about to win. So
Yeah.
they do this in like they did this with the interference in the men's King of the Rings as well, between all the back and forth with LA Knight and essentially Solo's crew going back and forth, or not Solo's crew, LA Knight and Seth Rollins' group, so Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, all interfering in each other's matches. You had a kind of that same flavor because Rhea got cost by Raquel the previous week, so Raquel came back and cost her. So it's a lot of trying to get people to save face and not having them lose clean, and having so too much interference in these matches. And I know there are no DQs, but got to do something a little different.
Yeah, I get it. They're trying to further the storylines between everybody, and I totally understand that. But I agree. I think it kind of takes away. At this point, I'd much rather them get jumped backstage before they come out. Like, you know what I mean? Kind of hinder them from performing at their best. I'd much rather that, because then they can be like, "Oh, you cost me the title. You cost me the time. I'm sorry, you cost me the shot at King of the Ring." But yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, I guess that's why we don't work in creative, because we don't spam the buttons.
Apparently,
of what's been done.
Speaking of spamming,
yes.
Jinx.
Speaking of spamming,
I knew where you were going with that.
We had Gunther come out to, of course, brag about his victory and new championship, only to bring out Goldberg, which, of course, I was not a fan of, and I don't care what people say.
I talked about this last week. We knew this was coming. We knew, this was so obvious that they were setting up Goldberg versus Gunther for the World Championship. But I'm like, oh, but anyway,
you started something in Atlanta, and we're gonna finish it in Atlanta. And sure enough, we have Goldberg and Gunther for the world title, or the World Heavyweight Championship at Saturday night's main event. Obviously, a retro show for a retro act, and so I just hope they don't let him win. I hope Gunther comes out victorious. I really look. I did read the comment that you were talking about, and yes, I get it. He can still sort of go, but I mean, at the same time, like at what point do we allow the new era to work through and do their thing without having to dip back into the bucket of bag of tricks, I should say, and pull up Goldberg? And mainly because we know Goldberg's track record with backstage politics and all that stuff. How he's not a good worker. I mean, Undertaker almost killed Undertaker, for God's sake.
Well, they almost killed each other in the Saudi match.
They both almost did. In all fairness, they both were kind of rusty.
They both did.
But the difference between the two is the Undertaker acknowledged that about himself and said that was his aha moment, that, oh shit, I can't do this no more, Goldberg's like, I don't know what I did wrong. I'm fine. It's like, no, dude, that doesn't work that way.
Goldberg, okay, first off, Goldberg was limping his way down to the ring. After he did his little punching kick, he limped his way down to the ring. I have never seen somebody get absolutely blown up from cutting a 2-minute promo. He was so exhausted and drenched in sweat from doing the promo and hobbled. I'm like, this guy, he can't go anymore. I'm just gonna come out and say it. He cannot go. He can't go longer than 2 or 3 minutes in a match, which is horrifying to me, because that makes me feel like he's gonna squash Gunther. He's gonna go out there, hit the spear, and then pin him, and then become the champion. And then they're gonna do something stupid like Seth Rollins is gonna come out with his crew and squash him, and then cash in. Like that's the only way I see this going, and it'll be dumb. And you don't need the world championship to do this match between Goldberg and Gunther. I don't understand taking it off of Jey Uso just to do this. They should have just said, hey, it's a special attraction thing, and then he does retire. If he wants to go, I don't like what they're doing with Gunther, because they already had him do this program with Pat McAfee, which I thought was beneath him. Now you're going to have him possibly go out there and job out and get squashed by Goldberg. Which will be the second biggest disgrace that Goldberg's committed, second only to when he went out and he squashed the Fiend, which for me was ridiculous. It was the worst idea. It was such a slap in the face to the Fiend character and everything that Bray Wyatt was doing, and it was meaningless. It was absolutely meaningless to have Goldberg. Goldberg had nothing to gain by doing that. All you did was bury a great character. So the fact that he's going to come out here and probably bury Gunther, is insane.
I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to this. No, I'm not. And I feel like the issue with this is that I just go back to what I just said. I let the younger talent flourish. Let them build. You have a stacked roster. You don't need a Goldberg to sell. I mean, granted, I know Saturday Night Main Event probably isn't going as well because they want the ratings and all that stuff.
Right.
And I know it's just a ratings grab. At the end of the day, it's business. It's a ratings grab. We see Goldberg attracts the older generation that used to watch Saturday Night Main Event, right? And knows what it is. The newer generation really doesn't, having a hard time figuring that out. That's the whole reason why a lot of these WCW pay-per-views are now NXT premium live events, right? So you have like War Games, Bash at the Beach. You have all those coming up. Again,
Which is a
I
slap in the
get
face
it.
to WCW because they're
It
like,
really
yeah, we're going to
is.
use all of your stuff as our B team.
Yeah. And it's like, it's a shame, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. We just kind of have to see what happens with it. My only hope is that Gunther doesn't lose to Goldberg, but I just don't want to. It's gonna make me sad. But it's just, I don't know, man. That's just not fun for me. But it is what it is. I know it's business, so we'll just keep going. After
Yeah.
that was I think my match of the night as well was JD McDonough, AJ Styles. AJ Styles and JD just put on a hell of a match. It was a
Yeah,
lot of
it's
fun, a
really
lot
good.
of back and forth. It was high octane, lots of everything. This match hit it checked off all the ticks. So I'm
It did.
I'm happy with that. I like the way they're using AJ Styles. I'm glad they went back to his old theme song. Not that I didn't like his new one. I just
I'm
like
a huge fan of the new one either. So
it was all right, but
I liked his old theme a lot better. So this is
yeah.
nice. This feels good.
I was kind of worried when JD took that bump over the barricade. It was a little bit of a nasty fall, but he
Yeah.
was okay. And then the way AJ Styles, countered into the Styles Clash at the end was really really cool as well. Just kind of showcasing how he can really hit that out of anything. Again, my match of the night, it was there was a lot of good stuff. I can sit here for days going over everything, but I would just say go back and rewatch that match. That match was so great, and kudos to AJ and JD for putting on a hell of a match for us on Raw.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was solid stuff. Really, really great. A match of the night on a night that was really devoid of wrestling because it had 4 matches.
Yeah.
4 matches for the entire show. It was very promo heavy,
Yeah.
but this was really great stuff.
Like 4 matches in 2.5 hours. Not even
Yeah.
2.5. It was like 2 hours and 20 something minutes, but still.
That's pretty wild.
After that, we had Becky Lynch. Was it Becky Lynch?
Well,
Yes, we
Bailey
had.
came out first.
Yeah, Bailey
To
came
cut
out
a
first
promo
because
on
she
Becky.
she did her return the week prior, and now she came out to cut her promo. Becky Lynch came out to pretty much agreeing to an Intercontinental title match. So it's funny because I don't know if I like this new gimmick of Becky Lynch. It seems a little forced. How she's trying to act like a victim. I get what she's doing. Don't get me wrong. I totally get what she's doing. I understand it, and I mean, it can work. I don't know. I don't know. If she's uncomfortable doing it. It just seems a little off to me. But again, she did the whole like I can't turn my back to you, and she's like kind of walking awkwardly with her face like facing Bailey the whole time. But then she's the one that tries to hit a sucker punch. Bailey dodges it and decks her. I like that. That was a nice little move there. So we'll see how that goes. I'm assuming it's next week on Raw. I think it's not at Night of Champions. It's going to be at Raw.
It's going to be at
from
Raw.
my
Okay.
understanding, yeah. And it was actually, and of course, Becky Lynch wearing Chicago Bears gear in Green Bay.
Yeah, that was like a little too much. Like now Becky.
That's like
just
90s wrestling
going with
stuff.
the cheap, cheap heat,
The cheap
which
heat, yeah.
is a little too much. She's like, and by the way, the Packers suck. You don't need to throw that in there. Like just it's the low hanging fruit, Becky. It's like you know better. You're better.
She's gonna get it all. She's gonna get it all. That's all good. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm curious to see if Bailey's new entrance song's gonna be ready by then because there's word that Paramore's doing her new theme music, and also Limp Bizkit's gonna be doing Braun Breaker's new theme music. So I'm excited to hear that too.
Well, I like that they're upgrading music, and then Jordan Grace also got new music on NXT, but people aren't liking her new theme. And it sounded like they only did it because she owned the rights to her own entrance music, and they wanted WWE to have the licensing, which I'm like, that's kind of cheap. But
yeah, it's a typical WWE move. Only certain people are allowed to do that, like Cody and CM Punk. But yeah, after that, we had an unfortunate not match. Liv Morgan versus Kairi Sane. This match was going to be really good, but unfortunately, right in the very beginning, when it was weird because Kairi was doing kind of like a leg trip to take down a very run of the mill, a very standard textbook, leg trip. And it's just unfortunate the way Liv's arm landed. Her elbow took the brunt of the impact, which dislocated her shoulder at the very, very, very beginning of the match. One of those things that you never really saw it it happened so fast you didn't notice it until she rolled out and you knew something was really wrong because even Kairi was confused and you could tell she was like trying to figure out what to do next. And they cut to commercial, and then when they came back, obviously they was being helped out and they ended the match, and that was that. But hopefully it's Kairi Sane obviously wins by forfeit, but hopefully Liv has a speedy recovery. I think it's going to be a few months before we see her again. So hopefully we'll see what they do with the tag titles too. But
yeah, it's really unfortunate because Liv obviously, she's had a great year and they're setting up this program with her and Io Sky. I think I think the crowd didn't really know if it was a legitimate injury or not because it didn't look like anything when it happened. And so when she rolled out of the ring, like people were booing her, but everyone's like, "Oh, they were booing because they were happy that she got hurt." It's like, no, they weren't. It's like I
Yeah.
think they were trying to figure out, is this a work or not? And
Mm-hmm.
because it looked so nondescript when it happened. Although I will say I've tweaked my shoulder playing football, kind of falling like that.
Yeah.
So when she fell and she kind of put her arms out in front of her, and I'm like, yeah, because she extended too far forward
Yeah,
and hit the
that
ground with all the
leverage, that
impact.
angle.
I'm like, that's totally happened to me where I partially dislocated a shoulder once doing that. So when I saw it, I was like, okay, I know what that feeling was.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those freak things that happens. But wishing Liv all the best, speedy recovery. I know she's had shoulder injuries before, so hopefully she's right as rain soon and back in the mix.
Yeah. Hopefully after that we had Nick Aldis getting the IC title back from AJ Styles because obviously he ran off Judgment Day at the end of his match and told him he'll get a title shot at Night of Champions. So him and Dominic Mysterio for the IC title, that should be fun. And yes, Bayley would be on Raw. That's hers. I just confirmed it.
Cool.
After that, surprisingly, was the main event. That was it. We had the main event. It was another qualifier: Jey Uso versus Rusev versus Sheamus versus Bronson Reed. This match was fun. It was good. It was a lot of big man spots. Obviously, a lot of rest spots for Jey. Jey got to kind of take a break for a little bit there. You did have LA Knight come out to push Bronson Reed off the rope. You had Bronson Reed Braun Breaker in there in the mix. He got attacked by Penta. It was fun.
And Sami Zayn too.
Yeah, Sami Zayn attacked.
Like, there was so much interference.
Everyone came out. It's like the whole, like everyone that had beef with Seth Rollins' new crew, like they just came out.
I'm like Sami, because it was like Braun and Bronson Reed, and I'm like, yeah, but Bronson Reed was a participant in the match, so you just had Braun Breaker. So the fact that you had Sami come out, Penta come out, and LA Knight all come out specifically to stop Bronson Reed from advancing.
Yeah,
that was a little much for me.
He had Jey Uso dead to rights. That was going to be over, and obviously he shoved him off the top rope. Jey Uso hit the Uso splash and got the victory. He's advancing in the King of the Ring tournament. So we'll see how that goes. One interesting note I did want to make, because the match was okay. It was a run of the mill for the 4-way. It was fun. It was okay. Wasn't match of the night by any means. Obviously, that was JD and AJ Styles. But one thing I do want to note is Karrion Kross's character build is insane, and I love it. And I think it's gonna equate to something really, really big. I don't know what yet. There's been a lot of rumors and speculation. One of them being that he's going to be involved in some way with the Wyatt Six. One is that he's building his own stable. Another is just they're bring back Killer Kross, which I'm hoping they do. But I noticed that he's been really pushing Sami Zayn. And we kind of saw it come to fruition a little bit on SmackDown after that match he tweeted out. But I'm really liking that. I'm really enjoying it. He's kind of been picking psychology. And Sami Zayn told him, when I'm done with this, I'm going to come after you. And he kind of mentioned the whole time thing, because I was always Karrion Kross's thing, TikTok and, the time. And he kind of told him it's about time. And I was like, oh, it's going to be good. So I guess obviously since Sami Zayn lost, well, I'll let you get to that. But Sami Zayn's kind of being manipulated. I think it's going to be sooner rather than later. We're going to see that blow off match, and I can't wait for that. We'll see how that goes. So overall, Raw was meh. I don't know how you felt about the final match.
It was meh. I mean, the final match was good. It was good. You kind of knew when Jey Uso was like the last second person that got put into it because he lost the title. But you kind of knew he was going to advance, and so I think it's him and Cody in the semis.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting how they're going to play that one, because I assume Cody's going to advance, and because they're using this as like the springboard to put him back into the program against John Cena.
Yeah,
but we'll see how this plays out. Maybe you get a little bit of a inklings of a heel turn because they're supposed to be buddies. Maybe you get a little bit of Cody heel turn coming during that match. But it'll be interesting to see how they play it.
It's funny you say that, because at the end of this match, obviously he was getting beat down by the Bronze. Jey Uso was, and Cody came out for the save. Right? And there's a moment where and again, I know I say this a lot, people probably get sick of it. I love a good heel turn. I love heels. That's my shtick. I love heels. But I noticed that there was a time where it was just real, like a hesitation pause, sort of, where, and I know it didn't mean anything, obviously, but it just kind of gave you the what if Cody would have turned on Jey right then and there and been part of Seth Rollins' crew. Then Seth Rollins would be like, that was the plan all along, because now I got one of my guys in the semifinals, But it obviously didn't happen. I know it won't. Cody's too But I would love to see heel Cody. If you don't know what heel Cody looks like, go back to AEW. He does, or even New Japan when he was running the Bullet Club. Lots of fun. But yeah, so it was an okay show. Nothing too crazy, just 4 matches, but that was pretty much it.
Yeah, and then we headed into SmackDown, just the continuation. 'Cause it opened up with LA Knight coming down talking about
We just picked up where
all
we
the
left
back
off
and forth. Yeah,
previously on Raw.
We've all were screwing each other out of the King of the Ring. He kind of walked us through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Then called out Seth Rollins, got Paul Heyman instead. And then basically, long story short, they talked for a little bit. And then Heyman basically said LA Knight needed to leave the arena or something bad was going to happen to him. And LA Knight was like, I'm going to fight Paul Heyman in a match right now. And Paul left the ring. Of course, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker came out. Brawl was on. Knight used a steel chair to fight him off, which set up Bronson Reed versus LA Knight later in the night. So it's a continuation of that. It was an okay start. LA Knight's always great on the mic. I'm kind of wondering, gosh, is there better things that you can do than just have him kind of feuding with Seth Rollins' henchmen at this point? Unless they're planning on putting the title on Seth Rollins and then LA Knight gets the first crack at him at the world title. But Maybe he would lose there anyway, because they're not going to take the title off of Seth that quickly. But we'll see. We'll see where they go with that. And that after that led into the first match of the night, which was Queen of the Ring semifinals, Alexa Bliss versus Asuka. This one was a good match. I was a little surprised here that Asuka won in advance. I was really hoping that Alexa Bliss was going to advance.
Mm-hmm. I was too.
So that was a little bit of a bummer. It's cool to see Asuka back, but it feels like they've got her on the rocket ship. As soon as she got back, she's in the Queen of the Ring tournament. And now she's in the finals, and she'll advance to the winner of who does Jade Cargill have?
Jade. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Is it? It's not Roxanne, is it? Who's it?
No, it's. I think it is. Hang on, I can tell you.
But yeah, because Roxanne Perez did advance because she won that.
Did.
So I think it is her versus Roxanne. So I almost feel like the final has to be Jade versus Asuka, like when they get there, because they did.
It'll be Jade to win because they're kind of hinting at her new little faction that she has going on there with BFAB and Michin.
Yeah,
which I'm a fan of. I like that.
Well, and they've got to do something with Jade. Jade's too physically dominant to not like to have her go out there and not beat Asuka coming off of a knee injury, or beat Roxanne Perez at this point. Like, unless they're gonna do now that they're past the point of like the fatal 4-ways where people have to win clean at that point. Like, there was no shenanigans in the Asuka versus Alexa Bliss match. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But this was overall good stuff. But I guess I'm pulling for Jade Cargill now to win.
So I was trying to find out what the bracket looks like, but I'm not pulling it right off the top. Yeah, I was hoping that Alexa Bliss would win this one, but obviously they got Asuka going. I think they are going to have Asuka win this one, though. I think Jade would be a good fit because it'll elevate her. It would elevate her new faction, her new group there. It would help them out. I could see them doing good things with that. It's kind of like a dream match to see Asuka versus Jade Cargill because, two complete, like, Asuka's more technical savvy, more striking. Jade's just more of a powerhouse, so it would be a good match. I'm not worried about it at all, but yeah, so I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I'm pulling for Jade, but I have a feeling it's going to be Asuka.
Yeah, I think probably the safe money is probably on Asuka. And then after this, we got Kit Wilson versus Aleister Black. Psych, we didn't.
Or did we?
On the way out, as Kit Wilson was walking out, R-Truth ran out and attacked Kit Wilson, which didn't make any sense to me. Like, he was just mad and he was calling out John Cena. It was very heelish. This was kind of an odd choice here. I know Kit Wilson's technically like a heel, but not really. People like Pretty Deadly. So they just kind of had him be out there as cannon fodder for R-Truth. And then he got a pep talk later from Damian Priest saying, "Hey, don't do that kind of stuff, man." And he was like, okay. Like, the whole thing just seemed a little out of place.
Yeah, I think on that, I noticed that, was it last week when they were talking? Yeah, I think it was last week when Nick Aldis went to go talk to Truth, or Ron Killens now, as soon as he goes by.
Well, the commentary was still calling him Truth.
Yeah,
all the time.
Some of them weren't. And it's kind of interesting, but he was kind of talking to himself. He was making little comments. I think he's going to be doing more of like a schizophrenic type of character now. I
see the return of Little Jimmy.
Yeah, well, like to the nth degree, right? Because I think now he's kind of broken, he's cracked, and now he's gonna, he's lost it pretty much. I think is what they're doing, because I think that's why he did that, because it's so out of character of him, because it wasn't him, it was another person driving, kind of like what was that? like when you have those split personality disorder. I think that's what this is. I think
Yeah.
that's the type of character he's going to be playing, and I think that's why they did it that way. But yeah, because definitely was out of the R-Truth character to like attack
Yeah,
like that.
it was very odd. So I'm interested to see what they decide to do with it. But he was worked
Yeah,
up and angry. He's got John Cena in the main event. That was the main event for this
yeah,
show. After this, we had a segment that was kind of a little strange, which was Cody Rhodes coming out to cut a promo, but he didn't say anything because right as he got out, Jey Uso's music hit, and Jey Uso came out and did his thing. And he started cutting a promo, and then Orton's music hit, and then Randy Orton walked out. And then you had Sami Zayn's music hit, and then Sami Zayn
Sammy
walked out.
first, and then Randy.
Oh, Sammy and then Randy, yeah. Sammy and then Randy, and they both cut. Sammy cut his promo about like wanting to be a champion. He's the only one here who's not been a champion. Randy Orton's music hit. Randy Orton came out and talked about how, hey, Sammy, you'll get your chance, but I'm going to win in advance. And then this led directly into Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton semifinal.
Mm-hmm.
So this was all set up with Cody coming down to the ring, and he never spoke. He didn't have a chance to cut. Like, he didn't talk the whole time. Yeah. So it's because he got cut off first. And I was like watching going, is Cody going to have a chance to say anything? And so he just kind of stood there and said nothing while everybody kept cutting him off. So you never got to hear from Cody, which is also where I'm wondering, hey, is this part of the build up to a heel turn? Because he just sat there and was kind of getting talked over by everybody and just didn't say anything and kind of took it. So it was a little strange, but this led into my match of the night, which was Randy Orton versus Sami Zayn, which this thing was great. It absolutely cooked from start to finish. Randy did end up hitting the RKO, one clean. He's in the final. Back-to-back years he was in the final because he lost to Gunther last year.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like he's got to win this year, but it's got to be Cody. Like, are you really going to have Randy Orton lose King of the Ring 2 years in a row in the finals? I don't know. I guess so.
Maybe.
Because I still feel like safe money's on Cody, and I think it's going to be Cody versus Randy Orton, and maybe that's where you see the heel turn.
Possibly, I could see that happening. Yeah, and again, this honestly, I feel like we all knew Randy Orton was going to win. I feel like this did more work. This did more to build up the match with Sammy and Karrion Kross. Because after this match, Karrion Kross tweeted, I told you so he was going to lose. He just went on this whole tangent. And again, I want to see what this does with Sami Zayn, because he was kind of saying how Sami Zayn's not this nice guy. He's kind of trying to spin it around. So I'm excited to see that. Randy Orton, I love Randy. I think he's awesome. I mean, I would like to see him be King of the Ring because it sounds like he might be nearing his retirement soon.
Yeah,
just the things he said. Not that he's not in shape to do it. I mean, he can still go, obviously, but I think just little things that he's said and like kind of the way that they're using them kind of sparingly, I think it's kind of hinting towards he's nearing the end of his career, in the ring. But it's going to be a sad day because Randy Orton, honestly, GOAT for sure.
Yeah, absolutely,
no question whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, if it's Jey Uso, I think he'll win. If it's Cody, I don't think he will. But who knows?
We'll see. It'll be interesting. We'll see how it shapes up, how the finals end up shaping up.
Yeah, because that's Raw. I think Raw is going to be Cody.
Yeah, Raw is going to be the last ones, and then they'll have the show. Everything's going to be wrapped up before Friday night because we got the show on Saturday. Hey, Jax was out next, and then Tiffany Stratton came out. Basically, long story short, Tiffany asked for a last woman standing match next week on SmackDown versus Nia Jax, which sounds insane and stupid. Like, why, as the champion, would you put yourself in that position? I know you think, wow, I'm going to prove how good I am. It's like, you already have the championship. And so Nia attacked Tiffany, hit her with 2 leg drops. Then Naomi ran down to cash in, which I was like, Naomi, what are you doing? They just announced they're doing a last woman standing match next week. Why would you waste your cash in attempt on what would probably be may or may not be a successful cash in when you could wait 1 week until they beat the heck out of each other, until they're both so physically beaten that they can't continue, and then whoever wins, you pin that person. Like, this felt like a real miscalculation for Naomi here, but nevertheless Nia stopped her from attempting her cash in. So I imagine that we're going to see that next week, that we will definitely see a cash in, because who wouldn't cash in at the end of a last person standing match?
It's pretty obvious.
Pretty wild. Seems pretty obvious, but what was your take on this one?
I kind of knew that Naomi was going to come out when Nia kind of laid her out, and I was like, oh, they're just gonna run with that. But it was funny to see Nia pull Naomi out each time and try and not let her cash in. So at least that the last woman standing match is going to be It's gonna be interesting to see who wins. I honestly don't feel it's gonna matter because I feel Naomi's gonna be waiting in the wings to cash in on that, take advantage, and that's kind of what I think is gonna happen. But
Yeah,
we'll see.
we'll see. We'll see. After this, we got Chelsea Green versus Charlotte Flair in a grudge match. This one was okay. It ended with Charlotte Flair beating Chelsea Green with a figure eight, and then the Secret Hers jumped in to lay a beat down on her after she won. It was Piper Niven absolutely obliterated Charlotte with like a
I thought her
senton.
knee was jacked up again. I was like, oh hell, they done blew her knee out.
She hit her so damn hard. Oh, jeez, like the beat down was on. It looked amazing.
Who signed off on that?
Hopefully Charlotte was okay. Alexa Bliss came out for the save to help Charlotte, and then Charlotte just kind of dissed her. Would you try to shake her hand? So they're still doing that Alexa's trying to be buddies with Charlotte thing. This was fine. The best part was watching Piper Niven just obliterate Charlotte, though. That was cool.
Yeah.
Good.
That I honestly thought she blew her knee out again. I was like, oh, hell. But no, she was fine. She was running around after that, so she was okay. But yeah,
she was good. Yeah, but it just looked brutal. Then after this, you got the continuation of I just want to hear 4 words from you. I love you, Solo. So Solo was out to ask Jacob Fatu to tell him he loved him, and did the whole families fight all the time. We got to move forward, and I love you, Jacob, and I don't care who knows. Like this went on a little too much.
Yeah,
and it was a little too dramatic, and everything like come back to me, Jacob. You're all I need. Like it was a little too romantic comedy ending for me. And basically Jacob was like, nope. And the problem is you have a problem with me having the US title. So fight me for it. And then they brawled and JC Mateo jumped in and they went after Jacob. And then Jimmy Uso ran out to save Jacob. And so I guess they're going to be buddies. They had a little standoff where Jacob wasn't really quite sure what to make of it.
Yeah.
Kind of looked at him. But clearly that they're going to line together. They'll probably have a tag match, I'm sure.
I'm about to say we're going to have a tag match next week, I'm sure. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, to set up for the eventual. They didn't announce like a U.S. Championship match, but I'm assuming that's going to be a Night of Champions.
I think they did. No,
did they announce it? Because I was like, I assume it's going to happen now since Night of
Champions. Yeah, it's
going
to be. I think I had it noted. Hang on a second. Where am I?
Dun 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 dun. While you're looking for that, just right after this was LA Knight versus Bronson Reed, which was fine, but it just evolved into Braun Breaker interfering. LA Knight won by DQ. They beat down LA Knight. Like, copy paste. Copy paste.
Yeah.
There wasn't much that happened there that we didn't expect. So I will put that out there.
Yeah, they haven't said when that's going to be happening, actually. I'm looking right now. I don't see it. So, no, to be determined.
To be determined, but I'm betting it'll be a last minute announcement. They'll come up with one. And then after that was the main event. John Cena versus R-Truth. R-Truth, of course, in his 50s. He moves better than John Cena. I will say that. And they basically kind of ran through Cena's movesets. They both ran through John Cena's movesets.
Yeah.
And
this is just a setup, honestly.
It was a set. Yeah, it was this setup for the CM Punk confrontation. Truth won by DQ. Well, Ron Killings. I will say Joe Tessitore was still calling him like R-Truth and Truth the entire night.
Yeah, but Wade Barrett was calling him Ron Killings.
Yeah, Wade Barrett was calling him Ron Killings. Joe Tessitore the entire night was like truth on everything. And then Cena won by DQ, or Cena lost by DQ because he did his usual, hit him with the title thing. And then on that, as soon as the match was called, CM Punk ran down for the save, but Cena got the better of CM Punk. Hit him with the low blow, title to the head. This is his new 5 moves of doom. It's now low blow, title to the head pin. So it's like a 3 moves of doom. And then he put CM Punk through a table and then just basically cut a ripoff of the pipe bomb promo.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were like, oh, this is the greatest promo I've ever heard. This was so good. And I'm like, okay, it was a kind of a beat by beat copy of the CM Punk promo. It's what it was. Which was this the best John Cena heel promo that he's done since his heel turn? Sure, I'll say that.
It was
because all he does is run down the fans.
Yeah. Well, he ran down CM Punk. He ran down the fans. He ran down a lot of people.
Yeah, he ran down a lot of people on this woman. But this one, it was like, yeah, you kind of copy pasted the whole thing. Like you were just like, let me just repeat the whole thing back to you and kind of make it about you. And it was good, but it wasn't like the greatest thing ever because it was just a copy paste. Here's the thing about the CM, and I've always been a huge critic of CM Punk, and I will continue to be a huge critic of CM Punk. But I think the people appreciated the pipe bomb promo because it was authentic. Mm-hmm. Like he really did he went in there, he had an idea what he was going to do, and he told management what he was going to do, and then he did improvise and he did go off script, and he did really get his microphone cut because he was going to tell a story about Vince McMahon, and they cut it, and so it was genuine. This one was 100% rehearsed and covered by management and approved, because John Cena's microphone didn't get cut, and it wasn't because CM Punk doesn't have any friends. I'm like, no, they signed off on all this. So for me, it was fun, but I was like, it doesn't have that same level of authenticity. It was fine. It's setting up Night of Champions, which is next week. Which, by the way, CM Punk's not going to beat John Cena at Night of Champions anyway. No. And I think this is why I have a hard time getting into this one, because it is him running through the list now of I'm getting all my last matches in, but I'm definitely not dropping the title until we get to the end of this. And I don't think they're going to have him really retire with it. I think they'll have him get beat by somebody like right at the end. Mm-hmm. But he ain't going to lose it to CM Punk. So there's no mystery there. It's more likely he'll have some controversy. He'll do the low blow thing, or you'll have, our Ron Killings actually help him, and it was a ruse all along. You're going to have something weird that's going to happen where John Cena's going to go, see, I told you, and I ruined wrestling, and I've got it all figured out. So it's hard for me to get really excited about CM Punk versus John Cena, just because I feel like nothing special is going to happen. But it was good. It was good. It was a good close to the show. I was thoroughly wrestling entertained by this, just from the callbacks, but it wasn't as special as what CM Punk did.
Yeah, here's the thing. I enjoyed it from a fan perspective, but from like an old school fan perspective, because just the details. When CM Punk cut the pipe bomb promo, who was John Cena fighting? R-Truth. It was after the match, and then he cut the promo. John Cena again. I think it's I forgot how many years since him, but it kind of landed on an even number. But again, CM Punk, John Cena fought R-Truth, then did the pipe bomb promo on CM Punk. I enjoyed that. The details of it, where he's talking about how he just ruins people's careers, and he gave a shout out to Nick Nemeth and Zack Ryder. Well, not Zack Ryder, but Matt Cardona. Like he was.
Claudio Castillo. Yeah, like he was going through, and people talked about like the symmetry of the names with the names that CM Punk dropped, and I'm like, no, he totally prepared for it. Yeah, like I thought he did a great job.
It was good. It was well thought out, and again, that's why I enjoyed it, because they paid attention to the details, and they put those little tidbits in there for the fans, from, dare I say, real fans, because people get offended, but whatever.
Yeah,
the fans that truly know what happened that night of the original pipe bomb promo. It was the little callbacks like that, and then just I feel like letting John Cena. I think because John Cena genuinely had fun with this promo, like for real had fun with this promo, because it was out of the John Cena character. You know what I mean? Like, he's talking about breaking the fourth wall. We kind of saw like a little, the little genuine smiles of John Cena just enjoying just doing it.
Just having fun.
Yeah, and that's what made it great. In my book, that's what made it great, is the authenticity of John Cena just truly enjoying it, and the callbacks that they did to it. I liked it. He didn't sit down crisscross applesauce at the top of the ramp, but he sat at the top of the ring and
set up on the turnbuckle. Yeah,
and again, the detail, he's on the top of the turnbuckle looking down at CM Punk, because he looks down on him. Like, it's like little things like that. I'm like, I like that. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I feel like SmackDown was way better than Raw was by a landslide. But I enjoyed it. I too was wrestling entertained. It was nice. It was fun. It was just a great show. So I'm happy with that. It was actually 14 years ago that it was the pipe bomb. That was like the 14-year anniversary. So I mean, that's why they did those little callbacks, and I think it worked out. I think it worked out well. It's going to further the beef. And John Cena's not going to drop that title. I don't think John Cena's going to drop the title till maybe SummerSlam against maybe Randy Orton if he wins King of the Ring. That would kind of make more sense. But we'll see.
We'll see how it goes. But SmackDown was definitely an improvement, and then we'll see how it works out this week at the final qualifiers, and then Night of Champions is just 1 week away. And that's when we'll be back next week to recap all the action from Night of Champions, maybe a few upsets, probably not, but you never know. We'll be here to talk about it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments. If you just want to talk about wrestling, agree or disagree with us, we always love to hear from y'all. And until next time, I've been Michael D'Angelo. He's been Big D, Daryl Ortiz. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you soon.